Hi, welcome to Life is a Treasure podcast. I'm your hostess, Michelle Durand, and you're listening to episode number 15. This is a bonus mini episode called Tea Time Treasures. I create these bonus episodes at the new and full moon of each month. This episode is the full moon in March of 2020, which will be on the 9th, and it is the first supermoon of the year. This full supermoon is also called the worm moon, as the ground begins to soften from the winter and the earthworms reappear, which brings the robins in. And I love birds and flowers, so this springtime is my favorite season. In each episode of Tea Time Treasures, I like to share one of my favorite teas, and today I am loving this rose lemonade tea by Taylors of Harrogate. And the package says it's fresh, radiant, and bright. This floral infusion is a sunny celebration of rose petals and citrus. And it truly is. It smells like a bouquet of pink roses. So I hope that you'll go grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee, whatever you like, and join me. So I always like to start with a card from one of my decks to offer us some inspiration and insight. So today I pulled one from my Flower Spirit cards by Melanie Eclair as spring approaches and the flowers begin to bloom. I thought this would be an appropriate deck to pull from. And the card that I pulled is a beautiful burgundy gladiolus, and the message says, I am connected to heaven and earth with each conscious breath I take. And I like to read you the insights from the accompanying guidebook. It says that this is a message, one of heaven on earth. The message of the gladiolus flower spirit tells us about being in a heavenly state on earth. This delicate beauty reminds us that we have come here for a purpose. We do not have to wait until the end of our lives to experience meaning and to feel the bliss of heaven. Neither do we have to meditate for months to discover it. It is here, now, all around us, and the only way to access it is to live in the present. And as the magenta petals of this gladiolus stretch up to the heavens above, its vibrant stems root deep down in the earth, bringing a balance and harmony from which we can learn. Perhaps there have been difficulties for you in this or other lifetimes, and you're struggling to overcome them. The gladiolus spirit confirms that you can transmute anything if you stay in the moment and choose to connect with heaven on earth as a simple way to feel inner bliss. Imagine that as you breathe slowly and deeply, you pull in clear light from the source above and fill your heart with the perfection of the Creator. At the same time, feel your breath drawing up loving energy from the earth, filling your heart and emanating out to everyone around. Each time you take this breath, you become grounded and inspired by all that is sacred. Remind yourself to breathe like this whenever you feel wobbly or ungrounded, and it will bring a warm, loving sensation to your heart and body, connecting you to the invisible web of life. Wow, I just think that is such a beautiful card, and I like to kind of stay with that spirit as we go through the rest of this podcast episode. And so this beautiful message is to remind us to be in the present moment. And in light of the full supermoon on March 9th, 2020, I'd also like to focus this episode on self-forgiveness. And I also invite you to listen to the guest episode number 14 with Deborah Quirk as we explore more deeply regarding this topic, and it is so good. But it's so difficult to live in the present when we feel stuck from the past, or if we're holding grudges and we continually recall events or experiences that have caused us pain and shame. But this is why forgiveness is required in order for us to move on in peace, make peace with our past, because we can't go back and change what has been done, but we can decide what to do about it right now in the present moment. And forgiveness allows room for healing. It's a choice, and it's so wise to forgive others, but most importantly, is to forgive ourselves. So this supermoon is like a big bright light that can help us bring awareness to these areas that need forgiveness. Because holding a grudge holds us in our own prison. I know I've done it so many times in my life. But forgiving sets us free. It's not for the other's good, it's for our good and our peace of mind. So I invite you to allow this full supermoon to illuminate what needs to be forgiven in your life in order to set yourself free. Once we take that first step, then we can begin to heal the inner wounds and move on from the trauma in order to live a life that is full of peace, love, and joy. So I'd like to wrap this episode up with a beautiful poem, and I'm not sure who wrote it, but I hope that it will inspire you as much as it has inspired me. As the earth begins to soften and new life sprouts, I release any suffering, judgments, or doubts. I move forward with new hope blossoming in my heart. This spring, I'll be ready for a fresh start. As colors start appearing all around these new beginnings, I give thanks for being found. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, I hope you all have a great supermoon. Peace, love, and joy.